What's up, Envy Gang? It's your boy Fralton Envy here, and we got reports that Mike D'Antoni could potentially take the Pelicans head coaching job after leaving Houston. Now, this is some big news because Mike D'Antoni is considered one of the top names in the NBA coaching stratosphere, and seeing how bad it went in Houston just shows that Mike D'Antoni is looking for something new, and it's rumored that he could potentially land with the Pelicans. Now, he could go to any team possibly in the NBA, but it's rumored that the Pelicans are on his radar. Now, what could this mean for Lonzo Ball? What could it mean for the Pelicans? And the good, the bad, and the ugly of Mike D'Antoni potentially going to the Pelicans. Now, if you're new to my channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button for all the latest with Lonzo Ball, Ball family, basketball, and everything in general. Comment and hit that subscribe. Now let's get into it. Now, one thing with Mike D'Antoni is offense. Like, that's all Mike D'Antoni's about. All he's about is offense. He's an offensive-minded head coach. Just think about when he was with the Phoenix Suns, the Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire pick and roll, 7 seconds or less. Like, or when he was with the Knicks, remember Jeremy Lin? He made a star out of Jeremy Lin. Like, or even with the Rockets, their offense was like the number one. Like, it's all about offense and analytics. So if Mike D'Antoni was to go on the Pelicans, he's always had like a dynamic point guard. Like, or he's turned a point guard more dynamic. Like, he's completely changed the game of how James Harden played. James Harden wasn't playing, when he was in OKC, when he was playing that 6-man role. Yeah, he was doing mid-range, he was coming off of screens. He was playing more of the traditional 2-guard. Like, he was cutting to the basket more, but because of the system of how Mike D'Antoni runs his team, he turned out to be more dynamic. So will James Harden go back to playing like that? But even digressing from that, look at Linsanity. Jeremy Lin was nobody, but he was playing in the coach's system and it made him shine. Do we finally get a coach that's going to let Lonzo shine in the system? Because theoretically, you can say with the Lakers, he was playing the type of play he wanted to play, run and gun, playing with tempo, playing with space. Same thing with the Pelicans. They also play with pace. They want to go up and down the court. They want that full court type of play. They're not a half court team. They're a full court team. Like, you get the principle in general. Like, it's Mike D'Antoni just a better version of Alvin Gentry? Or is Alvin Gentry a poor man's Mike D'Antoni? That's the thing. Another thing too, Mike D'Antoni, even though I'm being heralded as a great coach, he hasn't won anything. So, do you want to be a team that gets to the playoffs but doesn't win? Because it seems to me Mike D'Antoni's fatal flaw is he doesn't adapt. Like, he kind of has this one philosophy and he just sticks to it, and that's been to his detriment the whole playoffs. Or even the small ball experiment where your tallest guy is 6'7". I don't know how that's supposed to work in the playoffs. Like, it's nice in the regular season, but I don't know. They say to his detriment, Mike D'Antoni is just a really good offensive coordinator at his best. That's masquerading as a head coach. I don't know. But outside of the fact that Mike D'Antoni doesn't want to adapt, maybe he's too offensive minded. He doesn't really care on the defensive end. The good is he is still respected as a head coach, and he always turns whatever point guard that he has more dynamic. Now, will Lonzo be the point guard for Mike D'Antoni? Would he want to work with a young point guard like Alonzo? If he could make it work with a Jeremy Lin, why not with Alonzo Ball? Who was Jeremy Lin before Linsanity? Alonzo Ball is a promising point guard. What if Lonzo Ball was playing in a system that was more point guard driven? Like, hey, as soon as Lonzo Ball crosses half court, we all know what he's gonna do. He's gonna pass it to, as soon as he dribbles it off court, he's gonna pass it. Like, just like playing like hot potato with the ball. Like, what if in a Mike D'Antoni system, Lonzo has to keep his dribble alive more? Like, that's one thing I've always said about Lonzo. Like, just keep your dribble more alive. Like, sometimes you get rid of the ball a little too fast. Like, let me see what you're gonna do with the ball. Like, you know what I mean? Like, set up plays, dribble penetration, like something like that. If Mike D'Antoni was to come to the Pelicans, would the offense run more through a Zion? All his other teams has always been the point guard or a pick and roll with a point guard. So are we going to see a lot more Lonzo and Zion pick and rolls or pick and pops, perhaps? He loves going small, so we're going to see Zion at the 5 probably almost all the time. Like, so I don't know. Or will he have learned his lesson from this small ball? I still think Mike D'Antoni is still going to go with the small ball unit and lineup and all of that, but I don't think that's going to be the case all the time. I think with this Houston thing, it's humbled him a little bit, but you are going to see Zion at the 5 a lot of the time. I'm sure that's going to be their killer lineup, with Zion at the 5, Brandon Ingram at the 4, at the 3, who knows, Drew Holiday. Like, Mike D'Antoni loves running his teams real small. Now, compared with all the coaches that are still out there, who knows? There's a lot of talk of Kenny Atkinson. There's a lot of talk of a few like coordinators and assistant head coaches, Jason Kidd, Ty Lue. There's a talk of a lot of coaches in the league. So the Pelicans have their options, but who's going to take the job? I think it's lucrative, but it also boils down to, are the Pelicans going to keep Lonzo? The trade rumors are swirling all over. So I don't know, but it's your boy Fraud to Envy here. Let me know what you guys thought. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. Envy Gang, I'm out.